Hey everybody, Dr. Bam here. I really wanted to dive into this concept of temperament and kind of bring your focus into what temperament is. So, we hear the word temperament quite a bit when we talk about children and their personalities and all of that, but we really want to distinguish it from personality, and we'll get into personality a little bit later this semester. And how does that form? But what I wanted to really focus in on what we think about temperament is that the theory, the belief in it, is that this is genetically hardwired for people. So they are born with their temperament. So your temperament from the time you were an infant is the same as your temperament today. And well, like I said, we're going to discuss really briefly here that how personality plays into that. But temperament is really those innate characteristics in the infant or in yourself that include things like mood, activity level, and emotional reactivity, and they're noticeable pretty soon after birth. And so you can see below the study what are some of the things that they kind of took a look at and looked at the different dimensions, and they came up with these 10 dimensions of temperament. Are you a very active baby? They tend to be up more, very moving around, exploring their environment. Or are they more the baby that likes to sit back and swing and kind of watch everything? Or they're very agitated, right, with their environment all the time. The rhythmicity, regularity of biological functions. So I will tell you this much. It's to this day with my daughter. So we was very concerned about her when she would have her bowel movements when she was an infant, because they would be all over the place and like days would go by, and she is still that same way today. Like there is nothing that's been changed with that. Approach or withdrawal, so how they like to deal with new environments, new situations, right? Some will go forward and reach out, some will withdraw back. Adaptability to situations, are they pretty much, whatever, here I am, I'm going to play. Very agitated almost the whole time they're in a new environment, or a new situation that they're unfamiliar with, or cautious at first, but then grow comfortable, right? Intensity of reaction, threshold of responsiveness, quality of mood, distractibility, attention span, persistence. So in this case, and a lot of cases since, we've really focused in on these 10 kind of qualities. And what we find is that people are pretty similar to what their parents report as an infant to what they do as an adult. And so why does that all matter? Well, our temperament is going to influence our personality and influence how our thing. And our environment and the individuals understanding our environment, who care for us, or understanding our temperament, who care for us and provide us an environment that kind of supports our temperament or helps us deal with, create coping skills or ways to incorporate different aspects of our temperament into how we approach the world is very important. So what we find are about 40% of babies are born as easy babies, or what we term the type. I've always thought that the names of temperaments were kind of funny, but what they call an easy child, about 40%. They adapt quickly to routine. They're kind of, quick to soothe, take the pacifier, take the bottle. Once they have their needs met, they're pretty chill. They remain calm. That, in the most part, they're going to wake up in positive moods. That's my son, 100%. Like, even when he gets angry, he's back to calm pretty quick after the situation has passed. About 10% of infants are considered difficult. That means that when they placed in a new situation, they're reacting negatively. They have strong feelings about not wanting change, right? They don't change easy. Change really upsets them. They don't adapt to new routines. It takes a while for them to get back into into a new routine, to get settled into a new place. They tend to have that negative mood. It seems like they're kind of a little more colically, cranky, cryy, don't want to be put down all the time. And for an infant, they cry frequently. Only about 10% of children are like straight up difficult children. And then slow to warm, which is 100% my daughter and myself, by the way. And that is considered low activity level, We adjust just slowly to new situations. We need time to adapt. We need time to take in what's going on in the environment. Um, can fall into a negative mood pretty often, but isn't always in a negative mood. Especially if they're given the right environment, right? They can get shaken out of it much easier than the difficult child. And about 15% of children are a true slow to warm. So now you'll notice if you add those numbers, I know some of you are probably saying, hey, that does not equal 100%. That equals 65%. Well, why? Because some people don't fall neatly into one or the other. I would actually say myself and my daughter fall between slow to warm and easy. My son is just a straight easy. From what my husband's mom says, he sounded like an easy baby, and he's pretty much an easygoing adult, and all those pieces. So when you're thinking temperament, it's genetically hardwired. It has those 10 kind of areas that we focus in. Temperament doesn't really go away. Now, so, why am I not just crying all the time as an adult if I have a difficult temperament, right? Because we learn to adapt to the world around us. So that is going to be our personality. So we have positive, caring adults in our environment, and we're a difficult child. Those positive, caring adults are going to give us coping strategies to address the feelings, the moods, the behaviors that are linked to our difficult personality. Now, I will say easy personalities have behaviors too that have to get addressed. For example, my son thinks he can talk to every person in the world, and they will be his best friend because he's an easy-going, chill dude, right? Well, not everybody wants to talk to a 6-year-old boy at length about, Hot Wheels. So we have to work on building skills so that he addresses, okay, how do I read those social cues? Because his personality is, I'm just going to talk to you, and it comes from that temperament of easygoing. Positive mood. And he has to realize that some people aren't in a positive mood because he's usually pretty upbeat and positive. And so he has to work on reading those cues and get social, we have to provide him the support so that he's reading his social cues appropriately too. So realize that temperament is that genetic piece that drives maybe how you interact in the world, but you're going to develop your personality, and the personality is kind of how the skills you develop to support your temperament. It's the skills and ways that you interact with the world based on societal norms, and how you feel comfortable based on situations that you have dealt with. So if you were that difficult child and put in an abusive situation, which our difficult children have a very hard go if they have parents that lack patience or tend to go to the abusive pieces because they are going to cry more. They're more likely, the difficult child is more likely to be shaken, for example, than the easygoing child, because the easygoing child isn't causing the stress on the adult who would be doing the shaking. So, so if they're put in an abusive situation, they may cope with the world negatively if they're exposed to things like drugs and alcohol, and those situations, they may pick those up as coping skills to address some of their difficult temperament, whereas an easygoing temperament in the same environment may not necessarily pick up those cues or those ways of coping because they don't need to have the same stressors don't impact them in the same way. Okay, so that's enough about temperament, but now I want you to go over and answer the questions and match the temperament type to the temperament description.